This is going to terrify you. There are more houses on the market right now than there have ever been in the last 10 years. House prices in real terms are down 17% since September 2022. Now, why is that scary? Why is that terrifying?
I just looked at the estimated value of my house on Zillow. And if the number's accurate, if I were to buy my house today, not even 2 years after I bought my house, if I was to try to buy my house today, I genuinely would not be able to afford it.
Dave Ramsey says that the reason that young people can't afford houses these days is because that their expectations are way too high, that they want to live in a 4,000 square foot house in an affluent area. They want $1 million house as a starter home, and they just won't accept a 1,200 square foot house.
Many boomers born roughly around 1946 to 1964 bought homes when the median home price was often 2 to 4 times the average annual household income. Many millennials born roughly around 1981 to 1996 and younger adults are facing markets where homes can cost 6 to 10 plus times annual income in many metro areas. Boomers also generally dealt with lower tuition costs and less student debt, while younger generations often juggle rent, student loans, healthcare costs, and higher home prices simultaneously. Now, boomers face high mortgage rates in certain periods, but home prices themselves were much more lower relative to income. You know, every time I watch videos like these, I can't help but to feel empathy for these younger people, because for a lot of millennials and Gen Z, buying a home just isn't difficult anymore. It feels completely out of reach. Let's hear what the people are saying.
The reason why you guys could afford houses was
we
because
worked our ass off and bought it. All you got to do is you're paying more rent than you would a mortgage.
Okay, how am I going to get a mortgage?
I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois, and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. Like, I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime, and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
I'm being dead serious. I'm looking at houses, like, for my son, and how the fuck does anybody afford a house? Holy shit, I'm not even kidding. Like, if you own a piece of property, you better hold on to it for dear life, because it's unaffordable for anyone. Like, my children are never going to be able to afford a house. I don't even understand. Now, this is in Illinois, and I don't know how other states are. I don't know how other people are doing, but like, what the fuck? It's bonkers out there. Like, what? I mean, how much do people have to fucking make to be able to afford a house? Honestly, crazy shit happening out there.
Can somebody explain how I'm 25, still live at home because I work 2 jobs and yet still can't afford to move out? People speak to me at work like I'm the shit on the shoe, and yet, like, people just move to New York. Like, what am I doing wrong?
The way I have always wanted to buy a house, I've always wanted my kids to be able to say, at some point, be able to say, I don't care where I live, my mama address gonna always be my mailing address, unless they like move out of state or whatever. But I don't think I'm gonna buy no house, like, ever. The way people keep getting up here basically telling us they house poor, and I'm not even like, I promise y'all this is not me throwing shade. I feel bad for y'all. Mortgage going up hundreds of dollars a year, and you got to take care of all your maintenance. And then the people keep talking about D.R. Horton. I don't know if that's a Dr. Seuss character or not, but they are saying don't buy no houses from that man. So I feel even worse for y'all. They on Threads talking about they be making houses out of graham crackers and dots. I don't think I'm gonna ever buy no house.
Okay, I swear that my parents and all the other older people in this world are living in a completely different world than we are today, because when I tell you that my dad has always preached, live with your parents, save up $30,000 and you'll be able to buy a house. What house are you buying that the down payment is only $30,000? Because I can't find anything that's not a shack. Like, houses and land are just like astronomically expensive. And then I was working as a waitress and I was talking to these lovely older people, just an older couple, and they were talking about how they had land, and I was like, oh boy, I really wish that I could have land. That's my goal when I go like retire and stuff. And the older lady was like, oh honey, like if you want to buy land, you should buy land now. And I was like, I'm working as a waitress. you think I have money for land right now? No. And so I was like, oh, I don't have money for land right now. And she was just like, oh, don't worry. Just like save a couple dollars from each check and you'll eventually save up enough. Maybe when I'm dead. That is like saving a couple dollars a check is not going to get me anywhere. I'm not even going to save up like $5,000 with that. It would take me so long. And with how expensive things are, like I'm only eating like a meal a day to save on groceries. Like, it's not even funny. Things are so expensive lately.
See, that's not somebody asking for a mansion. That's not somebody asking for luxury. That's somebody saying, I work hard, I have a job, and I still can't afford the basic home. And honestly, that's a concern a lot of people are sharing right now.
All I said is I don't agree that we should have to work 40 years of our life. And I'm getting called lazy. People are telling me you're going to be homeless. People are also telling me I'm going to get fired. I'm a millennial that has been working since 2004 when I graduated high school. And it's messed up that you guys will come on here and talk to a hardworking man and tell him, grow up. Also, what did you expect? You shouldn't work at Walmart.
Young people can't buy homes, and it's becoming harder and harder every day. It's one of the biggest problems we face as a country. They tell you that over and over, but they never explain why. The media is not interested in educating you. They're interested in you being mad about it. And developers and banks, they profit off you not knowing. A home that would cost you $24,000 in the beginning of 1970s, at the end of 2020 would have cost you $340,000. Now, part of that's just simple inflation. It happens over time. And natural inflation would raise the price of that home to $177,000. But that delta between $177,000 and $340,000, something else is up. And the biggest component of that is you're not buying the same house. See, all those numbers are based upon the average home. An average home in the 1950s had 983 square feet. By the 1970s, it was up to 1,500 square feet, but today it's over 2,600 square feet. All this while the number of people living in those homes is dropping dramatically. In 1950s, everybody had 290 square feet to themselves. Today, every person in the average home has 1,000 square feet. That's bigger than a home that an entire family lived in the 1950s. And that's only part of the problem, because that's livable space. The biggest growth has happened in non-livable space. In the 1950s, the 1970s, most people had carports. Today, they have 2, 3, and even 4-car garages. Those garages are bigger than the houses people were buying in the 1970s. It's not only driving up the price of the home, but all of your other expenses as well. You pay more in property tax. You pay more in utilities. You pay more in interest on your loan, in maintenance, in furniture, in cleaning. Everything is more expensive because the homes are bigger. Buy a home that costs half of what they tell you can afford. Figuring that out is one of the reasons why I'm able to now live on a small Caribbean island.
This is going to terrify you. There are more houses on the market right now than have ever been in the last 10 years. House prices in real terms are down 17% since September 2022. Now, why is that scary? Why is that terrifying? It's because there is a narrative right now that says that house prices are too expensive, that they're unaffordable, that who can afford them? But If house prices are as low as they were since 2003 once you adjust for inflation, and if we've got more housing on the market than we've had in 10 years, it tells you that houses should be more affordable than ever. But if we still can't afford houses, what does that say about the value and the income that we're generating? The truth is, my friends, that house prices are not going up. Right? They've been flatlining for a long time. They've capped out because the average British worker can no longer afford them, even when they combine salaries with their spouse. What's really happening is that we are now post the neo-colonial era. For the last 75 years, we have benefited off the backs of people working for £1 a day in developing nations. And that's why we've now seen a 44% increase in salaries in Poland since 2017. The Vietnamese have seen a 66% increase in salaries over the last 10 years. Yet the British worker has only seen 0.1% growth since 2017 in the average salary. So if all of our contemporaries in developing nations, their salaries are increasing 100 times the rate as yours, guess what? The cost of everything they produce goes up. And so those clothes that you buy, the food that you buy, everything that we source from abroad, those workers who used to produce it for us for £1 a day, $1 a day, they don't want to do that anymore. So the cost gets passed on to you. This is the effect of being in a weakening UK economy relative to everybody else. That is why everything feels so expensive.
I just looked at the estimated value of my house on Zillow. And if the number's accurate, if I were to buy my house today, not even 2 years after I bought my house, if I was to try to buy my house today, I genuinely would not be able to afford it. And I find that so crazy. And for more context, I live on Long Island. So I know the Northeast in general, the house prices are just going up and up and up. I know that for some of the rest of the areas in this country, that's not necessarily the case, but it is the case for here. But like, you guys, this is crazy. Like, how are people supposed to live and just like strive for like the American dream of like having a house with like a white picket fence? This like, I wouldn't even be able to afford my own house. Not even 2 years later. That's insane.
The reason why you guys could afford houses was
we
because
worked our ass off and bought it. All you got to do is you're
All right.
paying more rent than you would a mortgage.
Okay, how am I going to get a mortgage?
Well, you save up your money and
How? I'm paying the rent.
Oh my God, what a freaking asshole.
Oh, brother. I see why there's so much hate against boomers now, because it's the willful ignorance for me. I mean, come on, you guys. Now, I was born in 1964, right on the cusp of a boomer and a Gen X. And I'm the parent of 2 millennials and the step parent of a Gen Z. And all 3 are working their asses off. They are on the hamster wheel, baby. And to sit here and tell them just work harder when everything has changed, the entire landscape. I mean, come on, you guys. When I bought my first house in Southern California, I was making $14,000 a year and bought that house and had plenty of money left over. The buying power has changed. Nothing is the same. To compare the two is insanity.
What's interesting is when you compare this to previous generations, when one income could support a family and eventually buy a house. However, today, many households have 2 incomes and are still struggling to save enough for a down payment. Now, that's diabolical. And I know some people will say, well, every generation has struggles. That's true. Boomers dealt with inflation. They dealt with recession. They dealt with periods of very high mortgage interest rates. Nobody is saying they had it easy. But the numbers are different. Back then, homes generally cost a smaller multiple of annual income than they do today. So while every generation faced challenges, the housing math has changed. I think this is where a lot of frustration comes in at. Young people are doing what they were told to do, for the most part. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save money. But when they look at home prices, they feel like the finish line keeps moving further away. And that's discouraging. Another thing that I hear a lot is that younger people aren't necessarily expecting a huge house and that many would be happy in a starter home. The problem is, though, starter homes in many areas have become extremely expensive. So what used to be considered a first step now feels like a luxury. And let's be honest for a second. When someone says they can't afford a house, they're often talking about something bigger than real estate. They're talking about stability. They're talking about building a future. They're talking about wanting a place that's truly theirs. And that's why these conversations can become somewhat emotional at times. I don't think this should be a boomers versus millennials debate, nothing like that. Most parents and grandparents want younger generations to succeed. I know mines do. Or dead. I'm older now. I'm 50. The real question is, why so many hardworking people feel like home ownership is slipping away? Because whether you're 25 or 65, most people agree that if you work hard and play by the rules, owning a home shouldn't feel impossible. So let me know, what do you think? Are younger people facing a housing crisis unlike previous generations? Or do you think every generation faces different challenges? Let me know in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Till next time, peace.